there is a lot of speculation about the relationship between the United States and India if Mr. Modi becomes the Prime Minister of the nation. I think, personally, I think the relationship will only be fortified. First of all, let's see what Mr. Modi is saying. He's saying the relationship between the US and India is going to be stronger, primarily because of the trade, the commerce, and also the technology. And I tend to 100% endorse what he's saying, because historically, if you go back and check, that India and US had very strong relationship in these three areas, especially technology tie-up has been very, very strong. It's not only this. If you see the stage in which India is right now, India is actually experiencing 5 very important transitions. The first transition is demographic transition. It's very interesting to see that India's death rate has reduced. India's fertility rate of the women has come down, obviously stabilizing the population that we have. And it's not only that, the electorate of India today, I mean, we are going in for general elections now, there's something to the tune of 815 million people, the largest in the world, are going to exercise their franchise. And out of that, 1/5 of them are first-time voters, obviously showing the profile of India, the young nation that it is. Something to the tune of 700 to 800 million young people in India. Obviously talk about the asset base that India has. And any nation that has a young asset base like this is only bound to grow. And United States will certainly be interested in a nation that has a potential to grow. So that's the first transition and the promise it has to the ties between the US and India. Well, the second transition that India is going through is about the economic transition. Way back in the year 1950, the contribution of agriculture to the gross domestic product of the nation has been 52%. Today, it is a mere 13.7%. And the contribution of the industry today is 29%, and the services contribution to the gross domestic product is 56%, a very huge amount. And this changing profile, economic profile of the nation, where the primary economy has moved to the tertiary economy, will certainly be of interest to the US, because the services market that India is today will be very exciting for the US, as a lot of services can be outsourced to India as it is. The third transition that India is experiencing is in the area of urbanization. So a huge amount of population coming from the rural hinterland and coming to the urban city centers in India. Prima facie, this may not hold any interest to the US, but what is subliminally happening, what is happening not very clearly on the top, is that the US, which is completely urbanized, almost to the tune of 85%, is deploying technologies in their cities to make them smarter. But if you see in India, India is a test bed for those technologies. India has historically been so diverse and so forward in technology development and testing that the technology human capital that we have can actually help the US in testing the same technologies there. So it's prima facie, as I said, we may not have anything directly strong in terms of urbanization, but certainly India being a step forward in terms of technology, the human resources that we have, who are capable, who are trained, will certainly be of a lot of interest and value to the US. So the tie will only be strengthened. And the fourth transition that we are talking about, and which has a lot of interest to me, is in the area of health and disease burden. Historically, India's health profile has been communicable diseases. We were battling tuberculosis, we were battling a lot of infections, but today the health profile has changed to NCDs, non-communicable diseases, like a diabetes mellitus, like a cardiovascular disease, and like a cancer. So this is the profile of India today. And the very same profile is experienced in the US. By virtue of moving to non-communicable diseases, India is developing its own competencies, its own social infrastructure its own medical protocols, its own alternative systems to treat these lifestyle diseases. And I think US will certainly have a lot of interest in using our facilities. A lot of people in the last 2 decades have been coming and using the facilities, medical facilities in India that are offered at perhaps a fraction of the cost. That's the reason why I think even our medical tourism in India has been showing a phenomenal increase in revenues. The fifth transition that we are seeing today is in the area of energy. India is clearly, distinctly moving away from fossil fuels and moving to gas-based and renewable energy profile, which will certainly have a lot of interest for the US, primarily because US has a lot of clean tech companies which might want to do business with India. So India is a great market for the US clean tech companies. So these are 5 reasons why US will certainly look at India, and more favorably so. And if Modi ji becomes the Prime Minister of India, this relationship will only get very strong, for the simple reason that his vision to make India an economic power, his vision to have great international ties with other economies of the world, and his focus on trade, commerce, and technology will certainly fortify the relationship between India and the United States.